I thought I was the greatest multitasker in the history of the world. Like I could be thinking about that meeting and writing that agenda and what I needed to get and somebody's homework and whatever it was, and listening and be fully engaged at the same time, and found out it's not true.
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, Fearless Freedom Tribe. This is Dr. G, and we are back for another exciting episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. Today, we have Kim Sorrelle with us, and she is going to tell us all about who she is and all of the wonderful things that she is up to. Take it away, Kim.
Thank you, Dr. G. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I am here to talk about love, to talk about how I am so passionate about what love really is. I was diagnosed with breast cancer a few years ago, and 4 months after my diagnosis, my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and then he passed away 6 weeks later.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was crazy, right? I mean, you're a doctor, you see all kinds of things in the ER, and any cancer in any family is not fun.
Devastating,
but to
yes.
have the double whammy like that and then lose the love of my life was nuts in such a short amount of time. But one thing that it made me do is question love and the reality of love, the true meaning of love. It's something that as people for years and years, we've wondered, what is the reality? What is love really? Songs are written about it, movies, whatever. So I decided that I would dedicate a full year to figuring it out. And so I did. And most of the year I was in Haiti. And I used this 2,000-year-old poem that you hear at a lot of weddings: love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, does not boast, etc. And I took one word a month to figure out, well, what is love that is patient? What does that even mean? What is love that is kind? And there are 14 is's and isn't of love. So it took me a little longer than a year at doing one a month. But the things I found out rocked my world, just changed my life, and I believe will change the world.
Awesome. Wow. And so you have to tell us what prompted you to pick Haiti. Like, why do you have roots there, or what did you pick Haiti for?
Well, I'd been to Haiti a few times. I run a nonprofit organization. And when I was healthy enough to go back to work after, dealing with my cancer, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And my dad and I had started an organization that did a lot of work in Haiti. And I ran into the director of the organization at the end of the year. And I said, hey, do you need anything? Is there anything I can do? I said, how about the books? And so I became part-time bookkeeper on January 1, 2010. And 12 days later, there was an earthquake in Haiti that killed 200,000 people.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yes.
I was there. And then I spent part of every month there for the next several years.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. So I'm sure that people that you met in your path were affected by that. I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, I knew people who passed away. Everyone I knew lost somebody. And
oh gosh.
homes devastated, of course, and buildings. And yes, it was a mess. It's still, unfortunately, it's a tough country. It's a beautiful, wonderful place full of beautiful, wonderful people living in really terrible conditions and corruption in the government and
Yes. Yeah.
all kinds of things that make it not so easy to live there.
Wow. And then so while you were there, so what exactly does your organization do there?
Well, we're a partnering organization. So we work with people
Okay.
in their own country who have a mission, a passion, a vision to do something to help people in their own country. And they understand the language, understand the culture, and understand the need, and just need somebody to walk alongside, whether it's a
Okay.
business or whatever it happens to be. We help people. So we've helped a couple hundred organizations in Haiti, and we're in other countries as well.
Okay. Okay. But I'm sure that Haiti had the hugest need at that point because of the devastation that happened there.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Wow. Wow. And then so, oh my gosh, there's so much there that we could talk about in regard to fear. Because I mean, I think about when you heard about your diagnosis, your personal diagnosis, when you heard about your sweetie's diagnosis, when you found out the prognosis for him with what he had, and then when you were faced with his passing and then having to move forward, there's so many areas where fear could have played a role and thwarting your progress. Can you share with us the thing that was most poignant to you and how you were able to get through that?
Yeah, it's so interesting. When I was diagnosed, people would say to me, "Gosh, why you? You do things to help people, you do this, you do that, whatever." And my response was always, "Well, why not me? Why would I be immune? No one's immune.
Nobody's immune. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like there's that God is in the sky going, I smite you and I smite you with cancer and you get TB. I mean, whatever, that doesn't happen. So nobody's immune to it. It's in our genes. It's whatever it is, it is. And so why not me? If I have to have it, I guess I have to have it. And fortunately, live in the United States where I had great doctors and great medical care. And so I was never necessarily afraid. There was so much unknown. My first book, actually, I wrote about it because there's so much that I had no idea. I had no idea that you make choices. I had no idea. I thought you'd go to the doctor and the doctor would say, well, this is what you have and this is what you do. And I didn't know that no, there are things you can choose. And then there are things you need to know. And then if this happens, then you need to do this. And that it's great to get a second opinion. And you want to be comfortable with your doctor. And I learned so much through it, but was not afraid. There wasn't fear there. Where I had fear more was the fear of the unknown of what my life was going to be. I was madly in love with my husband. And
Yes.
when he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, we know that that's such a bad diagnosis, right? Such a bad prognosis. And they thought that he could live a year or so, maybe more. He was young and healthy. I was only 47. And so they thought maybe he could live a little longer than that. But our prayer from the very beginning was, Lord, heal him like you did the lame and the blind, or the greatest healing of all, heaven. I believe in an afterlife. I believe in God. I believe in heaven. And I believe that that's the reward. And my husband was a wonderful, faithful man. And so please, Lord, give him these things, but don't let him suffer. And he did not suffer. He didn't suffer.
Okay.
And so in 6 weeks,
Well, that's a blessing.
yeah, it was a huge blessing for sure. Yeah. 6 weeks was fast, but merciful. It's a hard thing to live with, knowing
Yeah.
that you don't know when, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But then just unsure of what life would look like.
Yeah.
I had this part of my identity, I guess, was wife, one of the before, and all of a sudden it wasn't wife anymore. And it was a word that I did not like, widow, like that sounded like a 90-year-old woman wearing black,
Right. Right.
like 47-year-old woman. And, I never thought I'd have to deal with that. And that we should have just died together when we were in our 90s. But it didn't happen like that.
Right.
So wondering what life would look like was a challenge.
Wow. Wow, that's very powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I mean that's a very personal piece of you that you share with us, and we really appreciate it. It's like as you were talking, I was envisioning, because I'm 47 right now, and I'm envisioning what would it be like if, if that was my position and that was what I was told, and we had to deal with that. It's not an easy thing, but it sounds like you had your faith that kind of helped you through that, and helped you to have a very different kind of perspective about it. And I love what you said about you didn't want him to suffer. And I think that's the one thing that, as a physician, for me, like, I never want to see my patient suffer. And if it's a situation where, you know, um, they make a choice where they'd rather be at home, or surrounded by their family, surrounded by not these beeping noises and people checking on them constantly. I feel like that's a good choice. I feel like that is the best choice, because there is nothing like more peaceful, more like I don't know, more empowering, I guess, even though death, I don't know how death could be empowering, but nothing more, I guess that's the word that comes to mind, empowering, than having your people that you love around you in those final moments. It is nothing more terrifying than dying alone. I don't know. I don't know why I think this, but like this is what I think, because it's like I see it happening. I've seen it happen, and it's just not a very, very pretty thing. And I think as humans, we just kind of want to, I mean, maybe you'll go into this, but like we one of the things that we want is love, right? And part of love is being there in those moments when maybe not the most happy times, and having somebody there to know that as you transition to wherever it is that you go next, based on your belief, that you're not gonna be taking that road alone. I don't
No,
know.
I totally
Yeah.
agree. There's certainly something about it for sure. And I think, and he was home and we never had equipment. We never had a hospital bed. We had wonderful hospice care, but we slept in the same bed every night. I mean, it was just kind of life as usual until the very end. And uh, there's something about having that kind of control, I guess, too, would be a word, that you don't get to control a lot. There's things that they happen in life that you have no control over. And like he couldn't control his cancer, couldn't control the
Right.
fact that he was diagnosed. But so you want to kind of control the things that you can. And, I think about that even with like the choices that we made during that 6 weeks, that we controlled the things that we could control. And one thing was our attitude. We couldn't control that he was going to go and that life was going to change dramatically. We had no control over that, but I get to control how I face each day. And I get to control that I want to live. I want happiness. I want joy in my life. I don't want to, wallow in sorrow. I want to live, and I want to live abundantly and happily and contribute to the world. And so that's something I can control, something I get to choose.
And what a wonderful legacy for him. You know what I mean? Like, he's living through you in all of that, all that you're doing, you know? So that's incredible. That's really incredible. Now, can I ask, did you guys have any children?
Yes, five kids.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
a lot of
Okay.
them.
So he has a
Yes,
living legacy as well.
he does. He sure does. One
Okay.
daughter and four sons. So they're
Wow, that's wonderful.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're great. And I don't know what I do without them. And I have 11 grandchildren. And
Wow, that's so
I
cool.
know, just wait.
You don't even look
It's,
old enough to be a grandma. Look at
oh,
you.
you're so sweet. You're so sweet. But yes, I am. And it's so fun. It is the reward for not killing your children.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there's a reward. Okay, that's good to know. Good
There
to
you
know.
go. Yes. On those days when you're tempted. Yes.
Oh, wow. No, that's neat. That's neat. And so that's another element that plays a role then, as a mom having to continue on without your spouse. Was there fear involved in that part of things?
That kind of has unraveled over time. Um, my kids were all grown, so I didn't have
Okay.
little kids that I was raising like that. That
Okay.
would
So
have been
that's
a whole
probably was, I was gonna say that that's a blessing. I mean, the fact that
yeah,
they were grown.
because I would get together with women were around my age that lost their husbands, and some still had kids at home, and they would look
Yes.
at me and go, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it. At least I've got my kids at home, and you're home alone." And I'm looking at them going, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it." I
Right. Got little kids still.
kids, yeah. So
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So either way, but uh, it's interesting now with not having my husband around because as the kids go through stuff, as they go through things in their parenting life and in their personal life, and they remember things from their youth and whatever. I wish he was here so he could back me up on the stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody remembers things a different way,
Oh,
and
they
they
sure do.
and I'm like, no, that's what happened, whatever. I wish he was here and he could say, no, that's what happened. That's right. She's right.
Oh, wow. That's so fun. Wow, yeah, to get the backup. That's crucial because it's not like you're recording everything. It's like, oh, let's just go look at the recording.
Right.
You're right. It's each person's version of the truth, right? Of what happened.
Yes.
So that does change.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, that's so interesting. And then so you said wow. How many sons did you say?
Or
Four sons. Wow. So
yes.
your daughter, oh my goodness, is she like the youngest or the oldest? Or she's in between?
He is actually my oldest biological child. My oldest is from the Dominican Republic, but he was older when he came into our lives,
Okay,
and
awesome.
he was the oldest for quite a while, and
Yes.
then he came in. So yes,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
That's really neat. I was gonna say her situation must have been quite interesting being around four brothers like that.
Yeah, yeah, she held her own, that's for sure. Yes.
Oh, good, 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 good. No, that's great. Good to hear. I'm sure she's a mighty woman. That's awesome. Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way from sign up to launching your show with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available if you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us, then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show. And then so now you have to tell us. So we got the lead in with you talking about how you went on almost like a self-discovery type of mission over the course of a little bit more than a year, developing each one of those ises within that poem. And so now you have to tell us about the book, right? So tell us about the book and tell us how we can get the book, etc.
Okay. All right. Well, the book is called Love Is, and it's available anywhere on Amazon, on my website, in brick and mortar stores like Barnes and Noble and other stores. So it's readily available at all online places where people buy books. You can buy the book. And I start each chapter with what I think it means. Like love is patient is the very first one right out of the gate. So my very first month was love is patient. And so I start with what I think it is, and then I tell the story of what happens in Haiti or wherever I happen to be, somewhere, mostly in Haiti, what happens that brings me to the truth about it. And so it's stories. Some are pretty crazy. I was chased by a motorcycle gang.
What?
I slept outside with tarantulas and snakes and chupacabras
Oh
or whatever.
dear.
So yeah, so there's some crazy stories, but some huge revelations, like just the things I learned, like patience, for instance. You know what patience is, and I know what patience is. You're not all upset because you're ready to go when the kids are still putting their boots on, or they're
Oh
going to be
yeah.
late for school, right? You're being you know what that's like. But what I discovered is that love that is patient is way different than that. So I believe you're supposed to love everybody. And so if you love everybody, love that is patient would say that this moment right here, right now, is the most important moment of your life. That what's in the past is in the past, and what's in the future is yet to come. That this is the moment. So you give your full attention to the person you're with because you love them. And so showing love that is patient is giving them everything you have right here in this moment, instead of thinking about your to-do list, or you got to stop on the way home, pick up milk, or there's a meeting later today, or whatever it happens to be, but to be fully focused and fully right here, which, to be honest with you, took me a whole lot of practice, because I thought I was the greatest multitasker in the history of the world. Like I could be thinking about that meeting and writing that agenda and what I needed to get and somebody's homework and whatever it was, and listening and be fully engaged at the same time, and found out it's not true. It's
Right.
not
It's impossible.
right. Yeah, it is. It's impossible. And then I assumed what people were saying instead of really hearing what people were saying. And
Okay.
so when you stop and you really listen, then you have conversations instead of confrontations. And
Uh,
you're not waiting with your rebuttal, knowing that they're going to say this because they're whatever label you put on them or whoever they happen to
mm,
be. But they're people, because people are people all
right.
over the world. And so honor that and let people be who they are, who they're created to be, whatever that means to them. Because we don't control anybody, we only control ourselves.
Yeah.
And so let people be who they are, and then love them for who they are and where they are, and be in the moment, show love that is patient.
Wow. No, that's good. As you were saying that, I was like, man, I've been guilty of that. Like often. I was like, man, I need to be like focused on my patients more. I need to listen to them more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was a mom with all these little kids, and I remember those days, like making dinner at the end of the day was such a chore. And so I'm making dinner, and somebody's pulling on my leg and pulling on my leg, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what do you want? And I don't want to stop making dinner. And I really believe that had I known then what I know now, I would have stopped for a minute and given whatever child that was my full attention for a minute. And it probably would have taken 30 seconds for them to tell me they're going to the bathroom or what SpongeBob just did. It wouldn't have taken that long. And then I could come back to it instead of being nagged and nagged and nagged. And so to stop and give the moment, you
Oh, that's
just
great parenting tip. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I just think of all the times mine are like, well, I mean, mine are older now. I mean, the youngest one is 10. But yeah, I do remember the pulling on the leg thing. That happened a lot.
Yeah, one of my sons would poke me in the arm. He just poke me and poke me. I think I have a hole in my arm where he used to poke me all the time. And he was just relentless until I stopped what I was doing. Man, I always had
He
a bruise.
demanded your attention. Look at that.
Yes, he did.
What does he do now? What is he? What does he
He
become?
works for NASA,
See,
actually.
look at that. You see, that
Yep.
takes like determination, right? I mean, this is why he's building that skill.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, it worked. Whatever it was, it worked.
Yeah, no, it's true. And that's kind of why when my children do certain things, I'm kind of annoyed by it. But then I also realize that this is their way to develop that piece of their character that's going to help them to be successful, right? Like, so for example, I have one child that does not really take no for an answer. She will literally, she'll hear you say no, and then she will just reframe the ask and she'll come back again, or she'll wait until there's a moment where you're vulnerable and she'll ask it a different way and try to get it in. Like, she is relentless in her pursuit for what she wants. And I think that even though that's annoying to me right now, I know that that's something that's going to serve her well in the future, because she's just not going to she's going to get what she wants, basically.
Yeah, good for
So
her.
yeah,
Sure.
that's what I was like,
Yeah, yeah, kind
I
of
think
sad
it's
for you, but
annoying, but it's
good for
good.
her.
Right.
Yeah.
Drive mom crazy right now, but have success in the future. So it's all good. Fantastic. All right. So now you mentioned also that the book you mentioned is available in brick and mortar as well as on Amazon, but you also mentioned that it was available on your website. So if you don't mind, can you spell out the website and then say it so people can, have it both ways so that they can go look you up?
Yes, absolutely. Well, the easy way to get to my website is loveis.info.
Okay.
And my website is kimsorrelle.com. And I'm literally the only Kim Sorrelle spelled my way in the entire world, because there are way too many letters in my last name, because there are two R's and two E's and two L's. It's Sorrelle. So kimsorrelle.com, but loveis.info is the way to get there. And there's other fun stuff on my website too. And I love to connect with people. And it's been an amazing journey, I have to say. This whole journey that I went on, and then being able to share it. There are people that are using the book like in small groups and in book clubs, and families
Oh,
are buying
nice.
it and doing a chapter a
Okay.
month together. And so it's been really great. And so I'd love to connect with people like that. And sometimes they have questions, and I'm there. I'm happy to participate in whatever. So it's been fun.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. Oh yeah. So definitely, Tribe, if you're listening, I know you are. Go out and get the book and support Kim, because I feel like, from what we've even discussed here today, there's been such great value. So I just know the book is going to be chock full of value that would be life changing, because it sounds like the book, writing the book, developing the concept behind the book has changed your life, Kim. So it tells me that those that read it are also in for a life-changing experience. So that is very inspiring.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for the props. I appreciate it very much, but I really believe that that's true. I think we need to start a love revolution. We need to love each other more, for sure.
It would change a lot of things. A lot of
It
things.
would. It would. Tear down those walls that are between
Exactly.
people, right?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's so ridiculous. So ridiculous. I tell my kids, like, because now we don't live on the United States anymore. Like, we live on the Asian side of the world. But like, it's just so funny because what they realize is literally like, hey mom, yeah, that is this a different like language is spoken, or this is like, even when we went to Bali, like they're like, oh yeah, it's the same. Like, it's all the same. Like, everybody's the same. And I'm like, yeah, I'm telling you that. We just speak different languages, like, when we communicate with each other. But honestly, like, we all want the same things. We all want some semblance of love. So whether that is, like a partner, children, family, have some semblance of love. And we want to be able to better our community in some way. We want to contribute to the community, and we just want safety, right? Like, we want some semblance of safety too. So, I mean, we all kind of want the same things, no matter where we are from and no matter what language we speak. And it just like, the more we travel is the more that is solidified, that whole concept. So they're seeing it and they're like, oh, wow, this is so neat.
Yeah, that's good. What a great thing to teach your kids, because it's so true. People are people are people, and we tend to put labels on people. And then when we label people, then we make assumptions. And And none of that is good because, you're Dr. G and I'm Kim. We don't need any other labels than that. And but here we have such a political divide because we've got Republicans and Democrats. Well, get to know people. There's still people, on both sides of the aisle, there's still people, and get to know people. And it's interesting to find out why people believe the way they do. I believe that everything that we believe, everything that we are is a product of every day we've lived so far. So we all have room to grow, and we all have things we can learn. So just by communicating, talking, really listening can make a big difference, and stop labeling people.
Conversations comes down to conversations. Yeah. Oh my gosh, so true. All right, lady. So we are at the tradition on the show, which is fill in the blanks. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, fantastic. All right. The first one is, if I am fearless, I will
be limitless.
Love it. Love it. Okay. And then the next one is, to me, fearless freedom means
that I have the ability to change the world.
Awesome. And then last but not least, my battle cry is
love the world, love everyone. Love never fails.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate your candor, and we definitely appreciate what you are contributing to the world. So thanks so much for being on the show, Kim. And we look forward to your book. Look forward to checking it out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. You're amazing. I love your show. Everyone should listen all the time. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.